Hi, we're on day 4 of our new challenge, and I want to talk about the why behind the challenge. So I know that we've talked about this before. I've used a ladder analogy. I've used like a goal sheet, where you put your goal up at the top. I've used, a lot of different things. But today I'm going to use scaffolding. So I talk about all the time with you guys, we talk about together that we're on this health journey. We're not on a destination point. We're not running a marathon. And when we get to mile 26, then we're like, yay, we're done. We've arrived. And we throw in the towel, right? Instead, we're on a journey together. So the way that I want you to think about your health journey is with scaffolding. So let's pretend that you're going to build a house. And it's going to be your dream home. And you're going to put all the things into your house that you want to have in your house. You can't do that without the proper tools. You can't do that without the proper supplies. You can't do that before picking out a paint color and picking out sinks and picking out appliances. And there's a lot that goes into building your dream home. I read something the other day on Instagram that was like, isn't it ridiculous that so often we'll say, I'm powering through the first such and such episodes of this show because I've heard it gets better. It's slow right now, but it's gonna get better. What if we treated our health journey the same way? And it was like, yeah, duh. How often do we think to ourselves, oh my gosh, I did 2 weeks of a program and my body doesn't look like Megan's, and so I'm just gonna throw in the towel. Or we say something like, I was talking to somebody the other day, and oftentimes we get into an all or nothing mentality. Hope Till isn't driving you nuts. She's barking at the neighbor dog. So we get into this all or nothing mentality and we say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to press play 6 days a week and I'm going to make sure I'm working out for an hour every day. And I'm never going to eat gluten again in my life. And I'm never going to eat any sugar. And I'm going to cut out all crap food and all the processed food in the house. I'm going to throw away. And we go on this crazy reset. That's not maintainable. I posted a mind pump today, right? Yeah, I posted a mind pump today. Apparently I posted the wrong one. That happens sometimes with mind pump where I'll listen to part of it and then I get distracted or I have to do something different and then I go back to listen to it again, but it starts me in a different one. So I'm sorry, I posted the wrong one today. But here was the basis behind it. I'll look for the one that I wanted you guys to listen to the first 30 minutes of. But here is the basis behind it. An all or nothing mindset does not work because it's not maintainable. So when we find ourselves in this pattern of I'm going to be keto, well, that's not realistic because you can't cut out sugar for the rest of your life. We talk about 80-20 all the time, or B- work still gets results. The reality is the reason that B- work still gets results because it means that we're working. It means that we're doing something. When we get into this all or nothing mindset of going on a juice cleanse, when we get ourselves into these all or nothing mindsets, the problem is that's not maintainable. So if you're doing this all or nothing mindset with the idea that it's going to be a mental reset, that's totally fine. Amy Bayless told me a while ago that she does the 3-day refresh. I don't know, a couple times a year maybe. And she said the reason that she does it is to get her body and her mind on the same page, which I thought was so smart. So if you're doing something like that to get your body and your mind on the same page, awesome. I love that. You're doing a great job. However, if you're doing it as this all or nothing mindset, you're not going to be able to maintain. And we're not running a marathon, we're on a health journey. So, all of that to say, this is your scaffolding. Does that make sense? Did I follow my meal plan? Think about your meal plan like your building blocks. So they're your 2x4s, they're your beams, they're your drywall pieces, they're your, which I know drywall doesn't go in the scaffolding, but you know what I'm saying, okay? You get it. Your meal plan is that. It's the biggest piece. It's the piece that's going to give you the shape of a house, right? So you know how I'm sure that, I know Amuela says, all the time, abs are made in the kitchen. I'm pretty sure it's written on one of the trainer's boards too. I think that it's Megan's. Like, you can't out-train a bad diet. Autumn says that all the time too. They talk about how planning isn't half the battle, planning is the battle. So your meal plan, the reason that that's number one on your list is because that matters, you guys. What we fuel our bodies with matters. I'm gonna hit on a couple quick things in this section. Sorry, this video is gonna be a little bit long, but it's worth it. So a couple quick things in that section. If you're feeling overwhelmed with the idea of a meal plan, more than one of you has said to me, I can't do containers, it's too hard. Fine. Don't do containers. You don't have to do containers, because remember, what you have to do is something that's maintainable. So here's my tip. I've told you this before, I'm going to tell you again. Every time you eat a protein and a veggie. Every time you eat. Snack time, meal time, dessert time, I don't care what it is. And if you feel like, ew, gross, I don't want to eat a veggie at dessert, fine, get them in throughout the day, okay? But if you aim for 100 grams of protein, we're women, and we're aging, and protein matters. Dr. Stacy Sims says in her Next Level book, once we hit age 30, we lose 1% of muscle mass every year. That's a lot, you guys. By the time we're 50, we're down 20% muscle mass. That's too much. I don't want that. So the way that we're gonna maintain our muscles by eating 100 grams of protein a day. Livy's friend said to me the other day, so that's like average, right? Like, I probably hit 100 grams of protein a day. No, it's not average. It's hard to get in 100 grams of protein. So my encouragement to you is, if it's too overwhelmed to track, that's fine. But pay attention, keep a mental note throughout the day, because the reality is you won't have to do this indefinitely. Once you get some numbers in your head, you'll just know. But my encouragement to you throughout the day is keep track, even if it's just mental, of how much protein you're getting in, and aim for 100 grams a day. It's gonna keep you satiated. It's gonna help you maintain and grow muscle. It matters. It helps balance your hormones. It helps with mood. Meal plan too, the second thing I'm gonna hit is veggies. You gotta get in your veggies. I don't care if you don't like them, blend them up in a shake. I don't care if you don't like them, treat yourself like a 2-year-old and be like, yeah, you gotta eat your veggies before you eat the next thing. You gotta eat them. It's what balances out our gut microbiome, and we can't have balance if we're not giving ourselves a variety of plant-based foods. Those are your veggies. Get them in, okay? They're full of fiber. They're gonna keep you feeling full. They're gonna keep you happy. They're gonna keep your skin looking good. Eat your veggies. They're gonna keep you regular, okay? Next thing, 6 hours of sleep. So, you know, I've talked to you about Jenny Swisher. She's got the podcast. She's the hormone specialist. She's a doctor, all the things, right? The dietitian. I reached out to her the other day and I was like, listen, sometimes reading Dr. Stacy Sims, sometimes listening to your podcast, it feels wildly overwhelming. If I could tell my girls 2 things, the 2 most important things to make sure that they are working towards their goals, they're working towards their target, what are the 2 things that I could tell them? And you know what she said? Sleep is number 1. First she said, oh, do I seriously just have to pick 2? And I said, yeah, just 2. Sleep is number 1, she said. Number 1, you guys. So I'll tell you the second thing in a second, but I got 6 hours of sleep. For me, that's not an ideal number. That's not even a good number for me. 6 hours is not a place where I can function. So my encouragement to you is change that to a number that's functionable for you. Now, if you've been functioning on only 6 hours of sleep, but you haven't tried 8, I'd encourage you to up that number and then just see how you feel. So for me, that number is a lot closer to 8 for me to feel in my optimal health. So that's why sleep is on there. It's the biggest thing for hormone health, according to Dr. Jenny Swisher. So throwing that out there, sleep matters. The second thing that she said that matters the most is eating before a workout. So for me, I added that to the bottom. I was talking to Mia the other day and I was like, I've gotten out of the habit of eating before my workout again because I don't like to do it. However, if it's going to balance my hormones and if it's going to help build my house, You better believe that I'm putting it in my scaffolding. So things don't come naturally to me either, you guys. We figure out how to make this work together, and we share with each other our tips and tricks, and we power through on the days when we're like, I texted Mia the other day and I was like, I'm just trying to swallow my protein pancake before I press play. Like, I physically felt like I couldn't swallow. I figured it out anyway. So my encouragement, put that at the bottom of your list too. I know some of you are awesome about eating before your workout. Like Kathleen, I know that you do that. Jessie, I know that you have to do that or else you feel pukey. Like, that's awesome. It's something that Jenny Swisher said was super important. So for me, I added it onto my list. Next thing, got an extra movement. The reason for that is because we've become a very sedentary people group. So you know how we had our 10,000 steps a day challenge? It's fascinating to see when we start tracking things like that. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was only getting 4,000 steps a day. So the reason that that's there is to help us get in some form of extra movement. Now, if it's pouring down rain, if you walked 26,000 miles, if you walked 26,000 steps the day before, like you're feeling like a rest day, your extra movement could be an ab fiver. Your extra movement could be a flexibility workout. Your extra movement, this one's my favorite, is Autumn's controlled stretches from 9-Week Control Freak, doing a controlled stretch before bed. I did one last night for the first time in forever. It feels so good. Oh, and I got to back up really fast because I told Kathleen that I would share this with you guys again and I forgot. Back to the sleep thing. If you're struggling with staying asleep, tart cherry juice before bed. I have started adding magnesium into my tart cherry juice before bed because, according to Jenny Swisher, magnesium is the most important of all the supplements and we're not getting enough. So, tart cherry juice before bed. I'll explain more on that later, but just trust us, okay? It matters. Tart cherry juice and magnesium before bed. This is getting long, so I'm trying to, speed it up for you. Next one, got in my workout because moving our bodies matters, especially as we age. Dr. Stacey Sims calls this LHS, lift heavy shit. Lift your weights. It's important. It matters for as we age. It matters for hormone health. It matters for muscle development. It matters for the way that we look, and you're going to feel better if you're lifting weights. There you go. Get in your workout. Hit my water goal. I listened to a dietitian talk one time, and she put a hamburger into a pair of nylons and squished it. And it was gross, and it stuck all in the nylon. And then she poured water in and squished it, and the hamburger flushed all the way out. She goes, that's your insides when you don't have water. That's your insides when you have water. That's all I need to say. Your body needs water. It needs a lot of it. Aim for 100 ounces a day. Don't overthink it. Don't make it crazy. Just aim for 100 ounces a day. If you're having a hard time getting it in, set a timer because we have to do it. Sorry. It is what it is, right? You got to do it. Set a timer. Figure it out. Okay? Last thing on here is personal growth. Maris posted today, I did this workout today, not just for the sake of a workout, but for the sake of putting on my oxygen mask first. Personal growth, it's the same thing. When your mindset is in a place of growth and of healing and of taking time for just you, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, you guys, that makes a world of difference. The way that I get that is with podcasts. It's with listening to personal development books. It's with, sometimes that personal growth is walking with a friend because that kind of thing matters, especially if you're bouncing ideas off of each other. So just throwing that out there, this doesn't just have to be sit down and read a book by myself. Do something here that doesn't just fill up your cup, but that fuels you as an individual. Sometimes this is going to be fueling you as an athlete. That's Mind Pump for me. Sometimes this is going to be fueling you as a mom. That's Jen Hatmaker's podcast for me. Sometimes this is going to be fueling you as a friend. That's typically a walk for me. Sometimes this is going to be fueling you as a wife, and maybe you're listening to a podcast about marriage. Whatever. Pick something here where there's a billboard in town that says, do something new every day because learners are growers. So my encouragement to you is sit down this week with this. I'm not doing this just as a no big deal. This is just a challenge. I want you guys to be engaged. I'm trying to help you build your scaffolding. So my encouragement is sit down sometime this week and think about why these things are important to you. Think about how you can check things off all the time. The reason that we're doing this for 8 weeks is so that we can build a sturdy scaffolding. And I'm here to help. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, there's so many things on this list, if you're feeling like, this is a little bit of tough love again, but if you're feeling like I can't get this all in, here's my encouragement. Stop scrolling. We waste a lot of time doing that. Just throwing that out there, okay? If you're feeling like I can't do all of these things, help me help you. Reach out and I'll help you look at your schedule. I'll help you look at your calendar so that you can figure out, or I'll help you dial this down. Like maybe you're not needing to hit all of these things today, and that's totally fine. But my encouragement to you is in order for this to maintain and be a lifelong journey, instead of just a marathon or a sprint, we have to build a steady scaffolding. We have to build a strong scaffolding that can support our house. I'm here to help.